Hi. Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Dozy.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review of the Junior Adidas Ace 17 Plus PureControl in the red limit pack colorway. Now inside the box along with the shoes you get the same accessories as the men's variation, so the black string bag with the Adidas and Ace logos there on the front, as well as the black shoe horn. Of course, along with those accessories, you get the shoes themselves, which I have right here. And right away, you'll probably have noticed that there are certain aspects of this shoe that are very similar to that of the men's variation, and there's other aspects that are different. We're of course going to talk about all of those differences and similarities in today's video. So if you are interested in learning more about the junior variation of the Ace 17 Plus PureControl, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can either click a little pop-up on screen or the very first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $150 retail price. So they retail technically for half of the price of the men's variation. So again, little pop-up on screen, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs with the Junior Ace 17 Plus PureControl. So this is the junior model in a size 5.5 US, and here's the men's variation in a size 9 US. Obviously this is bigger than that one, but at a quick glance, they're very, very similar shoes, and for the most part, they didn't change too much with the upper on the junior version of the shoe, which is quite interesting. A lot of people always ask me why certain junior shoes aren't the same as the men's variations, especially when you're talking about top-end models, and why aren't all the men's top-end models available in a junior variation? Well, the answer to that question is more complicated than you think. Obviously, there has to be some sort of a demand for a higher-end junior shoe. These retail for $150, which, yes, that's a lot less than the men's version, which retails for $300, but you also have to consider that most people who are buying junior shoes, it's for a kid, which means their parents are buying it for them, and a lot of parents don't necessarily want to spend a ton of money on a shoe that they're going to grow out of. So, like I said, one, the demand has to be there for the higher price point. The other thing to consider that a lot of people don't really think about is the scaling. Certain materials, certain designs can only be shrunk down so small to where the design doesn't work anymore. Something has to be modified, and that's what we see a lot from Nike when you see a men's version of a Vapor and a junior version of a Vapor, for example. They can't make the actual materials and the design so small because the shoe no longer works, be it because of flexibility, be it because of the fit, be it because of the materials. Things have to be changed for, like I said, the smaller form factor of the shoes themselves, which are going to be available in junior sizing. So for this shoe, the upper pretty much is identical. It's still a prime knit material. It has pretty much all the same internal structures based on what I can feel around. So you have a prime knit base for the upper itself, but you have a lot of synthetic material lining the inside. It's like a synthetic suede, but it's fairly thick and does have some good rigidity to it. You have the side Adidas stripes, which are that kind of harder TPU plastic material as your sidewall for the laceless system. Across the top, you have the elasticated exposed prime knit, which does have some decent stretch to it. And then internally, you do maintain your tech fit structure kind of support system, which is basically just a surround for your foot made from an elasticated material that when you slide your foot in, it kind of stretches, has that compression type fit, and then everything else kind of just wraps around it. You have this top piece of the upper acting as the cover for that main internal structure, kind of lockdown element, if you will. You also maintain the non-stop grip dots across the entire upper itself, and as well as the prime cut collar, the mid-cut aspect of the shoe with the pull tab at the back and the pull tab directly attached to that internal structure element. So that's very similar to the PureControl, the men's variation. Internally, you have a regular insole. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It's fully removable, but you're going to notice that it's distinctly not made out of Boost foam. This is the insole that it comes with, mesh liner on top, perforations throughout, just a single layer of standard foam, a pretty regular insole by Adidas standards. And then of course from the side you can see that it does have a sprint frame external heel counter, but the bottom is actually from the X line, so be it the X16.1 or the X16 Plus Pure Chaos. This is the sole plate, this is the stud pattern, just shrunken down into a junior form factor, which obviously for the men's variation, it's a little bit of a different stud pattern. not so much in the layout, but the shape of the studs themselves. And of course, the boost foam, which is the base of the sole with the clear window, and then in the insole as well. If you guys saw my video on the men's variation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So why isn't that on the junior variation? I assume that, again, it comes down to scaling, cost, and just, I guess, the necessity of having that at all. For those that are really concerned about this, I've talked about this before, I really don't think that the boost foam incorporation on this men's PureControl has much of an impact at all in regards to comfort, underfoot cushioning. It's not all that noticeable. So to miss it on this junior variation, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Again, it comes down to scaling and I guess what the company deemed worth it. They obviously did have the manufacturing process, the tooling to actually scale down this particular sole plate. So because it is similar, because it would work on this particular platform, they decided to probably just recycle this as opposed to retooling something completely different for a shoe that they're likely not going to sell that many of. It's not going to be the most popular seller from the Adidas brand, especially because it's a $150 youth shoe. Most youth shoes that are selling are going to be closer to $50, $60, $70, not $150. So again, a little bit different as far as the sole plate is concerned, but you do maintain the same layout for the stud pattern. It is still FG-AG. You just get the shapes of the studs that are what you're going to find from the X line, which actually I would say that I prefer over what you get from the Ace, although the difference in actual feel and performance is very, very minimal. My major concern when it comes to this particular shoe has to do with the fact that it is a junior model, which means that these are going to be purchased for kids by their parents, and most of the time, I know this was the case for me when I was younger, whenever you buy a youth shoe, the idea here is that you want them to have some growing room to them, and this PureControl system, this laceless system, doesn't necessarily work all that well if you leave a lot of extra space. There are issues with it even if you have the perfect size. I really don't think that this is the best system in terms of lockdown. And this is something that I've talked about many times before in my videos on the 16 plus and the 17 plus PureControl. I just don't think that there's enough structure and enough lockdown to where your heel or your foot is being forced into the base of the sole. It always wants to come up, and there's some uncomfortable aspects to that. The lockdown is not the greatest, and again, it's one of those shoes that because of the laceless system, you lose out on adjustability. You put your foot inside the shoe, the way it fits is the way it's going to fit for its entire lifespan. You can't make it tighter, you can't make it looser. It just doesn't have adjustability. So with this particular shoe, with this particular setup, it really is a requirement that you get them to fit almost pretty much perfect with no extra space at all. So because this is a junior model, and a lot of people will be buying these for their kids, hoping that they're going to last for a season or two, you probably don't want to buy these with a lot of extra room. If you have that much extra space at the end, that's likely too much for this laceless system to work properly. So if you're buying this for your child as a parent, I would very, very strongly recommend that you buy them to have pretty much the perfect fit. Get the 1 season or 2 seasons out of them, depending on, I guess, how much they're going to grow. That's not something you can necessarily predict, but really for the best possible performance and more importantly, I guess, the best comfort out of this particular shoe, it's super, super important that the shoe fits properly. You don't want pretty much any extra space on the inside whatsoever. If you leave a lot of growing room, you're going to have a lot of problems with this laceless system. But that's pretty much it in terms of what you need to know about the junior version of the PureControl. It's pretty much the exact same upper as the men's variation. You're just missing the boost foam in the outsole. And of course, it does have a little bit of a different stud pattern with the X16 sprint frame as opposed to the A17 sprint frame. But again, the difference in performance and overall feel is not going to be that significant at all. So for the most part, you legitimately are getting a shrunken down version of the PureControl. You're going to get the same experience. Again, and I can't stress this enough, it's super, super important that you do get the right size. In terms of weight, the junior PureControl doesn't feel overly light for a shoe that is a 5.5 US, but it still is light enough to where it's not going to have that heavy sensation on your foot. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to weigh them for you today in real time using this scale. So keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 5.5 US. Going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.5 ounces, the equivalent of 185 grams. So again, for a shoe in this size, that's not remarkably light, but it certainly isn't heavy either. Either way, I think that if you're interested in this shoe, it's probably because of the laceless system, not so much because of the weight. Again, still very, very important. It's really, really necessary that you get the proper size. Don't buy these with too much growing room, because regardless of how light or heavy they are, if they don't fit you properly, if they are too big, you're gonna have a lot of problems because of that laceless system. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Junior Ace 17 Plus PureControl from Adidas. Obviously, I can't try them on, talk about the fit or sizing in this video, just because I can't actually try these on. They're junior size, but nonetheless, hopefully the information in this video you did find helpful enough. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the very first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $150 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support the video with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.